when DNA gives you answers and then even more questions, right? So I'll do a short version, then maybe I'll do a long version because there is a lot more details to the story. But just for the short, because I kind of left you on a cliffhanger last night. So my whole life, my mom was kind of like the black sheep of the family, and her dad never really was part of our lives, and it was my grandmother's first husband. And I knew my grandpa as the one that she married after she had kids. So, and I've known him my whole life, and technically I knew both of them, but I could probably count on my hand how many times I saw my other grandfather. So, my mom always felt like um, something was missing, and my grandma was like, "We'll pay for a paternity test, blah 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 blah." Well, 23andMe came out, and in 2017, I bought my mom and me and my grandmother and my kids and my husband 23andMe DNA, and it was pretty cool, whatever. And it took a while. It took until like February of that year. Well, my mom passed away in April of that year. Fast forward 2 years or so, and they had new technology of like making family charts and things like that. And there was something weird that happened. A cousin of mine did it, and it showed up as a half cousin, and I was like, what the hell? So I mentioned it to my grandma, and I was like, oh, we need to have, like, something's missing. So I went ahead and paid for me to have Ancestry.com for my DNA. And I did not match with anyone on my grandfather's side. So I realized, like, oh, we don't know who my mom's father really was. So I kind of went to my grandma, and he was abusive and stuff. So her first husband. So I was kind of happy because I didn't feel connected at all to him. And and we don't look like them. They were very tall, big bone. My mom and was tiny, and we're small bone people. So, and very short. And it just made more sense. And I was excited to find, like, oh my gosh, I have a quarter of ancestry that I don't know. And my grandma was like, I think something's wrong with the DNA. She's older, and now I gave her time, but like at first she was kind of like, well, I have a news article of a guy. I was like, did you ever meet somebody at this time, blah blah blah. And she was just not coming forward with it. And then I went into the anchor stage of, this woman let my mother, like, I saw my mom in a whole new light, which I'll go deeper in a different video. But like, looking at her as a child that was never very accepted and looked at as like something was wrong with her, in reality, like, she was the sweetest, nicest one, and of course she didn't fit in with them. And like, it was just heartbreaking to see, like, look at my mother as a child, like how she grew up, how she was treated, and then how we were treated. And she didn't deserve that. Like, she didn't ask to be born. She didn't ask to be conceived by whomever. And it's really quite sad, and I think about that a lot. And my grandmother, I realize she's taken that shit to the grave because she let my mom die without knowing. So why would she tell her granddaughter? It's a separate issue of, like, I still love my grandma. I have respect for her in so many levels, except for that one. Like, and it made everything very complicated in my relationships with my family and stuff. And I've never publicly said anything. This is the first time. I was waiting for certain people to die. I was considering waiting for my grandmother to die, but like, now she's got dementia. She's 91. I I've accepted, like, I'm not going to find out answers. I'm going to have to go through DNA. And I message people every once in a while, like every 6 months or a year, I will message people that I'm connecting with. I did find one guy that I have more DNA with than even my cousins. And he would be my first cousin in the scheme of things. And I messaged him, he messaged me back. We're friends on Facebook. I'm not going to give you names, but he was adopted. So, like, he doesn't even know. So, the closest one, like, we are both floating on islands trying to find out, like, who our ancestors are. And it's pretty, you can't make this shit up, okay? Like, this stuff is crazy. And I've been holding it in, so I've known since 2020 really is when I really started to deep dive and go, oh, wait a minute, something's not adding up. But yeah, so that's the cliffhanger that I left for you last night. I'm sorry about that. And anyway, let me know if you want me to go deeper on all the levels. So have a good night. Peace.